So it's now the case that Hillary Clinton's popular vote lead has exceeded 2 million, and she's on track to actually surpass 2.5 million, as there's still millions of votes left to be counted. Now, this doesn't necessarily change our initial conclusions about the election. She still was unsuccessful at exciting the base because it did initially appear as though Obama had received 10 million more votes than she did in 2008, but now it looks like he only received 7 to 7.5 million more votes than her. But that number is dynamic. I mean, as more millennials turn 18 and become eligible to vote, and as demographics continue to shift in favor of Democrats, their popular vote lead over Republicans should continue to grow, not shrink. So, I mean, as her popular lead vote over Trump does continue to increase, this doesn't change the fact that she failed to successfully mobilize the base. And let's not forget about the fact that the DNC did not do their usual get out the vote campaigns because they were afraid that it would somehow elevate Bernie Sanders' campaign. So they refrained from signing up and registering new voters until the general election at the behest of Hillary Clinton, and that bit them in the ass hard. Now, there are implications about this. Many people are now starting to rethink the Electoral College. Is this something that we should have? Because look, me personally speaking, I've been consistent in wanting to maintain the integrity of our democracy. And the fact that Hillary Clinton received 2 million more votes than Donald Trump and will not be elected president is undemocratic. And President-elect Donald Trump actually agrees with me. And I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of Hillary Clinton. In fact, everyone knows that I've been very critical of Hillary Clinton. And I don't think that we should change the rules to favor her now. But I think going forward, it is time to rethink the Electoral College. Now, look, as I've stated, I've tried to be consistent in trying to protect democracy, and I even came to the defense of Donald Trump when the RNC was planning to steal the nomination away from him. Take a look. So do I agree with the Republican Party potentially stealing the nomination away from Donald Trump? No, I don't. As much as I hate Donald Trump, I like democracy more than I hate Donald Trump. And you can't undermine the will of the people. It's just not democratic, especially if we only have two parties to choose from. You have to let voters decide, regardless if you agree or disagree with the candidate. If you don't like it, too bad. This is who voters want. Put up someone else who could beat Donald Trump. To undermine the will of voters would be akin to authoritarian regimes when they nullify election results. I mean, in Egypt, the military nullified the election results effectively when they jailed Morsi after a couple of months when he was elected. So you'd basically be doing the same thing. How does this make you any different? I mean, you wouldn't jail Donald Trump, obviously, but by stealing the election away from voters, how would you be any different from an authoritarian regime? Now, again, this whole argument is absurd because Donald Trump would basically be very similar to many authoritarian dictatorial leaders when he talks about, shutting down the press and, stripping away these libel laws so that way he can sue the press when they talk shit about him. But again, I mean, are we a democracy or are we not? You can't undermine the will of the voters. I don't like it when the Democratic Party does it, and I have to be objective and say that I don't like it when the Republican Party does it as well. So even though this would be entertaining to watch happen, and the chaos that would ensue would be just monumental, it's not right. So in thinking about what's best for democracy, I now have to defend Hillary Clinton. I think that it's undemocratic that a candidate receives millions of more votes than another candidate and can still lose. I just think that's wrong. And the rationale for the Electoral College, it's just outdated. It's archaic. And when it comes to the argument in favor of rural voters being represented, look, they should be represented, but not more or less than anyone else. One person, one vote. That's how democracy is supposed to work. And if rural voters don't feel represented, then they can petition the representative that was elected in their district to represent them. I'm not just in favor of doing away with the Electoral College, but I want to get rid of any other aspect of our democracy that's just frankly undemocratic. That means we abolish superdelegates. That also means that we do away with closed primaries and even caucuses. Those helped Bernie Sanders, but they're undemocratic. So Barbara Boxer recently announced that she introduced a bill to abolish the Electoral College. But my question is, Barbara, where were you during the primaries when we were calling on Democrats to abolish superdelegates? So when it comes to democratic integrity, almost everyone is a hypocrite because they only speak out against the rules if it hurts their candidate. You actually have to be consistent, okay? See, Donald Trump now, he flipped. He was against the Electoral College when he thought that it would hurt Mitt Romney, and now all of a sudden it's genius. Right. So we like the rules when it helps us. We hate the rules when it hurts us. How about this? How about we all opt to be consistent? Because in this election cycle, every voting demographic has been hurt by the rules in some way when it comes to voter suppression tactics in the South, when it comes to closed primaries or the Electoral College. We've all been harmed by undemocratic elements of our democracy. So why don't we change all of it? Why don't we actually reform our system so nobody is disadvantaged arbitrarily? So look, in conclusion, yes, we should definitely abolish the Electoral College because the rules were just simply unfair to Hillary Clinton. However, I don't have that much sympathy for Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, because she was silent when the rules disadvantaged her opponent during the primaries. She was silent on superdelegates. She was silent on closed primaries. So it is the case that Hillary Clinton was also disadvantaged by the rules, but Bernie Sanders was as well. And her supporters only care now about the rules because it hurt their candidate. Look, I just want everyone to be consistent. Don't only come out in favor of strengthening the integrity of our democracy if it's convenient for you. Do it all the time, even if strengthening democracy is something that would harm your candidate potentially. Whatever is more democratic, whatever empowers voters more, that's the side that I'm on. And I'm on Hillary Clinton's side here. But I wish that all of Hillary Clinton and her surrogates were on our side during the primaries.